Hello, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Latrina Foster, Director of the Fulton County Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities. Today, we would like to talk to you about Cope and Hope. That is the title of our program. We want to ensure that we provide you with strategies on how to cope with where we are today as COVID-19 has paralyzed our world as we know it. In addition to that, we would like to pave a path forward on instilling hope that tomorrow, one day soon, there will be a better day. As the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities implements strategies to ensure that we stand up to the test of times around COVID-19, we want to ensure the citizens of Fulton County that we continue to be here to serve. We want to ensure that people recognize that they have access to mental health services. In Fulton County here, Fulton County government is here to answer the question. I have several colleagues with me here today that will assist us in this discussion. I have Erica Williams Walker, Behavioral Health Program Manager, who provides oversight of all of our adult and child and adolescent behavioral health services. In addition, I have Africa Cotton, a program manager who manages all of our behavioral health programs that intersect with the judicial system. In addition, she provides oversight of our homeless engagement programs, permanent supportive housing, and I believe there's one more that I can't quite think of right now, but we'll discuss that with Africa when we reach her segment. I have Dr. Raquel Watson with us, our medical director, and she provides services to our ID population, in which we want to ensure that that community also knows that we continue to stand here ready to serve. So as we move through with our discussion today, I'm going to start with Erica Williams Walker, who can provide us with an overview as to where our adult and child and adolescent behavioral health services are today in response to COVID-19, and also provide individuals with strategies on how to cope with these stressful times all of us together are going through. Ms. Walker, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Latrina. Good afternoon. So where we are today with our behavioral health and developmental disability services we are continuing to provide services, but it's on a modified basis. And so what that means is our existing clients are still receiving services, but they are receiving those services telephonically or by telehealth. So either speaking over the phone with a clinician or over the internet, they're providing those services. And so right now, we're just providing service 1 day per week for existing clients that are in need of refills on their medication or even injections. And that's on Tuesdays at the Center for Health and Rehabilitation. And if people are needing to make appointments for those services, they can give us a call at 404-730-9626. In addition to that, if there's someone who is in need of services or needs to speak to a clinician and they are an adult, they can give us a call at 470-230-0840. And also, in addition to that, with our existing clients that have group services, they have moved those services online as well. So at this point, someone should have already reached out to all of those clients and they should be continuing to receive services at this time. As it relates to our child and adolescent services, all of those clinicians are busy having appointments with all of the individuals that they serve. Again, those appointments are by telehealth and telephone as well. And to my understanding today, they've conducted over 1,000 sessions with children and adolescents since we have not been inside of a physical building. So our services definitely continue, but we've just modified how we provide those services.
So Erica, with that, we still recognize that there are individuals that have not obtained our services in the past, but we want to ensure that the public is aware that we are here to serve. And although you weren't our client in the past, we are still taking new clients, correct?
That is correct. We are still taking new clients. And though that's where we will provide those assessments over the phone as well as via the internet for people to be able to tie into services. So yes, we continue to provide those services.
Awesome. And so for individuals that are watching us today and they're in need of some strategies, very stressful time for everyone. We're under an order to shelter in place. We're isolating from our friends and our family with that physical connection. So do you have any strategies for people to cope through these stressful times that are different than our usual norm?
Right, certainly they're extremely different for everyone. So one of the biggest things to remember is that you are not alone. We are all experiencing some level of stress and or anxiety in dealing with our current situation. So one of the biggest things to do is to just think about the things that you have control over and the things that you don't have control over. So one of the things that is important to do is to not watch so much news about what's going on. So really limit the time that you are on the internet looking for more information, looking for more statistics, and even looking at the news outlets. So basically turning off your TV for a period of time for those on those particular channels. And so if you are watching TV, maybe look at something funny, something that's going to make you laugh, that's going to take your mind off of those things. Also getting outside, getting some fresh air, going for a walk, and also in continuing to ways to relieve anxiety or practicing some deep breathing exercises, also exercising, meditation. So lots of different things that you can do. This is a really important time to reach out to family and friends that you maybe haven't spoken to in a while. Check in with them. What some of my girlfriends and I have been doing, we've been doing some video chats. Though there are a few people I haven't seen in a while. So incorporating those technological devices that we are often on a lot of the time, but just using those as a way to really connect with people. So those are a few of the strategies that people can use.
Awesome. Thank you, Erica. And so in response to technology, everyone's not up to date with technology. And so I'm thinking they probably know way more than I do. But for those individuals that do not have access to the internet or they don't have these smartphones, is Fulton County doing anything to reach out to that population to ensure that they feel some sense of connection with the outside world?
Yeah, so what Fulton County is doing is, so especially for with our individuals with developmental disabilities, some of the things that we've done is we're reaching out to them and making phone calls and making that connection with them, and just so they hear a familiar voice, and also checking on the family. So Fulton County is busily we're using the telephone a lot. More than usual, and just constantly reaching out to people and making sure and reassuring them that they know that we're there for them during these times and that we understand. So we're definitely reaching out to our existing clients just to make sure that they're okay and checking in with them.
And so I also heard with our department, we have a lot of volunteers for a new initiative that we wanted to roll out around seniors. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. And so with the seniors, what we're doing is beginning like a pen pal initiative to where the staff has volunteered to write letters to seniors. So to be able to cheer them up, and just, again, another way of human interaction and going old school and getting out a pen and paper and just writing. And so that's another way we're not having to use anything that's innovative, but just getting out a pen and paper and writing someone a note to encourage them and be of support to them during this time.
Awesome. Thank you, Ms. Walker. And so what I will add to your strategy, which you just mentioned it, but another strategy is to kind of take the focus off of yourself. And I think maybe invest your energy and time into brightening someone else's day, i.e. to our staff that are front line. We have a lot of staff at Grady, all the hospitals throughout Georgia. I won't just focus on Fulton County, although Fulton County is very important to me, but I want to ensure that everyone is, establishes some sense of mental health stability. And I know that right now, everyone is really stressed, high levels of anxiety. Then we have very vulnerable populations. So I'm thinking about the homeless population. And so Ms. Cotton, you're here today. Your expertise are amongst the services that we provide for individuals that are experiencing homelessness. And so right now, if someone is homeless and they test positive for COVID-19, is Fulton County doing anything to address that population?
Yes, so Fulton County is partnering with the City of Atlanta, Partners for Home, and the Department of Public Health. And there is an isolation unit. So if you are homeless and or displaced with the being positive for COVID-19 but can't return home, there is an isolation unit so that if you are experiencing these symptoms, you can go, you can be monitored. And then we will have our teams to provide case management services as well as therapeutic services to all of the residents.
Awesome. So it'll be wraparound services provided to individuals that are placed in these isolation units, this collaboration or partnership with the City of Atlanta, Partners for Home, and the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities. I think that that is great. So what is the plan for transition back to the community?
So for all those who are experiencing homelessness, we actually have 3 homeless engagement teams. We have 2 adults team, one that focus on North Fulton and another that focus on South Fulton. And then we have an emerging adult homeless team, which is the 18 to 24-year-old age range. And speaking with that homeless team, we are losing track of those individuals. So we're hoping that this isolation unit will bring them in so that they can get the services that they need.
Awesome. So I know that the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities, we do a lot of work with the judicial system. I know that we partner with State Magistrate Court on the implementation and full execution of a misdemeanor mental health court program where we provide that behavioral health support to individuals that have been diverted to this program. In addition, collaboration with the state court around DUI, a DUI program where we provide clinical support as well. And you're over those programs. And then we also have a reentry teams that work closely with the jail for individuals that have been flagged as possibly having a mental health disorder. And we want to ensure that they have appropriate resources and access to care. Can you tell me where we're at with those programs, since we're no longer in the jail and we're no longer in the courtroom to provide that supervision?
Yes, so we are still providing services, therapeutic and case management services to all the clients in those programs. With our DUI, we are supplementing any group therapy that they would have with those sort of homework assignments that will keep them busy while they're at home, keep their mind focused on their healing and less on the chaos that's going on in their outside surroundings. With our misdemeanor mental health court team, they're providing case management services. We have a virtual check-in with the judges and the team, just so that the clients that are a part of that program still feel like they're connected to the program. We've even gone as far as providing food to a client in the program because she couldn't get out and get those things. Awesome. And then our reentry team, all of those that are exiting the jail, they're entering into the environment where, you know, everything is shut down. And so we have our reentry teams that are providing services to those individuals. that have mental health concerns and that are being released from the jail. We are working with the Public Defender's Office as well as NAVCARE, who provides medical services in the jail. They will contact us if there's someone with a mental health concern, and we will follow up.
Awesome. So it doesn't sound like services have stopped at all.
No, they haven't.
It's just that we haven't been able to have that face-to-face contact that we are so used to having, but it's very important that we maintain that connection to let people know that we are still here and your mental health is extremely important to us. I'm going to shift just a little bit because I know that in the department we also provide services to individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, where our huge push is community integration. And so we offer programs in 3 sites where we really encourage our staff to ensure that they implement programs to have our participants integrated within the community. Dr. Watson, right now we can't offer that service. We can pick up the phone, we can call, we can check on them. Now they're home with their caregivers. Everyone is under a shelter-in-place order. So what recommendations or strategies would you give caregivers as well as individuals that have intellectual and developmental disabilities that have become used to participating in our program and being integrated in the community and having that social interaction with their peers, and now they're at home?
Okay, so first, let's start with talking about the importance of self-care for caregivers. Usually, as caregivers, we're used to using our energies to take care of other people, but we often forget to take care of
Dr. Watson, if I can have you turn up your mic, I could barely hear you.
Okay, no, as far as it can go. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so I was saying that we're going to talk about the importance of self-care for caregivers. That we typically use a lot of our energy to take care of others, and we forget to do those things that we need to do to shore up our defenses and take care of ourselves, so that we can be available to take care of others. So the first thing that I would say for caregivers is let's make sure if you're a caregiver and you have chronic illnesses yourselves, make sure that you're eating healthy, following your diets, taking your medications. When you're refilling the person who you're caring for, if you're refilling their meds, make sure you refill your meds so that you don't run out. Some of the things that we want to do is in terms of eating healthy, exercising, you can take walks. Those are things you can do with. If somebody is a wheelchair user, you can take them on a walk in a wheelchair. You can walk with people who are ambulatory. You can do videos to get exercise in. There's a bunch of things on YouTube that you can access for exercise. I would say making sure you get enough sleep. I know during these times of high anxieties, people are probably having difficulty sleeping. There are some foods even that help with sleep to combat insomnia. So I would say just doing those things to make sure that you're 100% to be able to take care of others as well. If we want to talk about caring for individuals with IDD, as we know, they also a lot of times have some co-occurring medical problems. And I think it's important for us to remember that sometimes individuals with IDD don't respond in the way we do when they are experiencing either stress or medical problems. They can kind of even go through like a grief process. You may notice behavioral changes. They may become more agitated, less active, or less talkative. They may become withdrawn. Their appetite may decrease. So those are some sort of telltale signs that we might notice to think, well, let's pay a little closer attention. Then there's this so-called fatal 5 that are the top 5 conditions that may lead to death in our individuals. So I would encourage caregivers to remember to remain mindful of that. One is choking and aspiration. The second is constipation, and then GERD or gastroesophageal reflux disease, seizures, and sepsis. So those are things to sort of keep top of mind. And again, you may look for some of those same signs fever, of course, but keeping in mind that sometimes our individuals can't mount a fever response. So they may not have that fever. So we got to be able to recognize these other signs: difficulty breathing, cough, dry skin, which may be a sign of dehydration. They may be somebody who's normally continent and now they become incontinent of their urine or bowels. The abdomen may become distended. So those are some things that we can look for to know that maybe we need to maybe call their PCP and get some advice over the phone as to how we should proceed.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Watson. And so do you have any strategies for IDD clients? And Ms. Walker, you can chime in as well. Some things that they can do while they're at home, or if they're in a group home, to kind of take their mind off of COVID-19.
Yeah, I would say things to keep them busy, like arts and craft projects. They may start a garden, either an indoor garden or an outside garden, if there's available land outside for them to plant a garden. I think that engaging them in things like a DIY project where they're making masks, they can share with their neighbors, so that gives them a connection to their community. And just keeping them engaged and talk to them. And Erica, you may be able to speak to that.
Yeah, sure. So just talking to them and make sure that they understand what's going on and explain to them why they can't necessarily be with their friends during this time at the day programs, but encouraging them to even call them, because a lot of them keep in contact with each other and that's their social network. And so reaching out to those friends and seeing what they're doing. And so just like anyone else, just focusing on the things that they love to do, whether that's reading or listening to music, dancing. So many of them love doing those things. And so just focusing on the things that you like to do and that you enjoy, and working on those things and focusing on those things instead of what's going on.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies, so much. So we are taking questions, and if you would like to ask us a question, you can send it to fulton.communications@fultoncountygA.gov. Once again, that's fulton.communications@fultoncountygA.gov. And something else that the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities is launching is that we would like to release weekly videos. We really want to hear from the public. We want to know, what is it that you need that will assist you through this time of crisis? That is where we're at. We're in a time of crisis. So what do you need from us? What type of coping skills, what type of topics would you like for us to address to ensure that we equip you to be able to manage day to day and make sure that your mental health is taken care of? So I'm going to turn it over to communications to see if any questions have come in at this point.
Yeah, so I have one question. This starts off: how can I stay calm when I get stressed and I'm tempted to take it out on my parents or other loved ones?
Yeah, so press pause, because we all recognize within our body when we're changing, and we recognize that when we're getting stressed, frustrated, your body gives you various warning signals. So sometimes we just need to press pause, walk away from the situation, and engage in some type of relaxation technique in order to get our thoughts together before we respond to this stimulus or trigger that may cause you to respond in an aggressive or irritable way to your friends and family.
Right, so the next question that I have is, lady wrote in and she says, I have 4 children, ages 4 to 16, and I have only one laptop computer. This situation is very stressful for us, scheduling school time, work time, and I'm also a student as well. Any assistance or guidance that you can give will be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, so she actually could email us her information. She can send it to that same email address and to perhaps assist you in obtaining an additional laptop so that you're not trying to work off of one laptop. And Erica or Africa, if you want to address just how to manage that dynamic of 4 children in the house, trying to do schoolwork, trying to do your own work.
Yeah, I think one of the really important strategies is to try to structure the day in some way. Children are really accustomed to being on a routine because they go to school on an everyday basis. And so trying to schedule the day basically like mimicking in a way how school is. And so including that time into where they're doing something recreational. So making, building in some fun times and some family times as well, and just scheduling everything out, especially at the time since you just have the one laptop. And so keep maintaining a schedule, making sure that you're incorporating things that are fun, letting them get outside and get some of that energy out. Also taking care of yourself as a parent. So making sure that you're practicing some of the self-care tips that we've talked about. When they are working on something, maybe you can be working on something that you particularly enjoy and love. And then also using those older siblings to help you with the younger siblings in structuring out that day as well. So that's a way that you can include them in on those activities and so that you're not as stressed. And so helping them, having them to help you cook, having them to do some projects around the home as far as cleaning out those junk drawers, organizing those closets. And so doing some of those things that you usually don't have time to do are all helpful tips as well.
And additionally, you can reach out to the instructors, yours and your children's, to see if they can provide recorded sessions. So if they can put the session up on YouTube or record it on Zoom to send out at a later time if all of the educational sessions are happening at once. This way, they can understand that, hey, we have several people within this one household who are only using one laptop, and in order to help them, we need to stagger our education sessions or provide it in a recorded document or a recorded platform so that they can have access to it.
Marcel, back.
Another question that we have that I think hits home for a lot of parents is how do they talk to their children about this current crisis when they hear stories and they become worried?
I'm sorry, I'm supposed to designate someone. Dr. Watson,
Okay.
talking to your children.
Yeah, I tell you, and it is difficult. I'm going to refer this question to, if they go to the CDC site, there is a section on coping after a disaster with children. There are just a host of activities and then some talking points for speaking with children about different types of natural disasters and other kinds of disasters. So that is a tremendous resource. In fact, I think there's a whole page of activities where they have a story and then there's a picture that they can color so that it engages the children in the activity as you're talking to them. So it keeps it kind of light as you're sharing the bad news. It gives them sort of a little lighter atmosphere to discuss it in.
Marcel.
So next we have, how can someone follow the developments regarding COVID-19 without feeling scared or overwhelmed?
Dr. Watson.
Miss, can you repeat that question?
Sure. How can someone follow the developments of COVID-19 without feeling scared or overwhelmed?
Well, it's difficult to do without feeling scared, but I would say follow it, but take some breaks. Take some breaks, because hearing all that bad news all day long, like if you're watching CNN, it's just over and over and over. So I would say, stay informed, but take some breaks sometimes. Look at something a little more lighthearted, so that as you're staying informed, you're giving your brain a break from all the bad news. That would be, I think, a strategy.
Absolutely. And I would just add to that, as you're staying informed, and a lot of times when we watch and it's breaking news, something new has come out about COVID-19 that kind of rocks us out of our chair. Just have that moment where reality is setting in, like, wow, something new. At first they said this wasn't going to impact A, B, and C. Now they're saying it is going to impact. Embrace it for what it is, but then reflect on something that you're thankful for. Be thankful that you are able to pick up the phone and call your mom and have a discussion about this, or you're thankful that you have a spouse next to you, or you have children to look at. But sometimes we have to balance things in our life, the good things and the bad things. We can't avoid COVID-19 at this present time. It has taken over our whole world. Everyone is experiencing feelings of anxiety. Everyone is stressed. And I'm experiencing it. But I learned how to balance it. Also reflect on the good in establishing a balance for myself. Marcel?
Okay. If I have a substance abuse issue, this is a very difficult time for me to stay sober. How can I manage? What can I do?
So I'm telling you, definitely stay connected with, if you were involved in AA, if you were part of some type of recovery group, it is imperative that you stay connected. Even if you have to connect with one of your peers, one of your colleagues in your group, and have a conversation with them every hour on the hour. It is so important that right now you wrap yourself around your support network. So if you were not involved in some type of recovery group, out to us and we will get you connected. So important right now that you have a support system around you, because one of people's first things is that when they're having a stressful moment, which we are having, feelings of anxiety, feelings of depression, we're isolated, we can't be around our friends and family the way we want to, they may turn to alcohol or drug use. And we're just asking that you please not allow that to be your first turn to. Please reach out to us for help so that we can get you connected to a support group, and that you can continue to have someone cheering you on, letting you know that it's going to be okay, and utilize other strategies to cope with the moment.
The next question comes from someone. I'm leaving incarceration to a world that is very limited right now in so many ways, and it's very traumatic. I'm traumatized, and I have only been free during this time of transition. What can I focus on during this time?
So Marcel, you broke up in the middle of the question, so I don't think that everyone caught it, but I will defer the question to Africa Cotton once we can hear it once again.
Sure, let me repeat it. I'm just leaving incarceration and going into a world that is very limited right now during this time. I'm very traumatized. I've only been free during this transition. What can I focus on during this time?
So right now is focus on the positive. So what do you have that is keeping you, do you have a place to live? Do you have food to eat? So focus on the positives that are surrounding you. And then identifying where you can go to get resources if you are lacking resources. So you want to make sure that you're practicing self-care. And that's across the board, whether you're coming or being released from incarceration, or you're at home and you're stressed with anxiety. We want to practice self-care and positive ways to practice self-care. So if I know that I need food, then where can I go to get food? If I know that I am struggling with, okay, well, where's rent? I need rental assistance. than reaching out for, rental assistance. There are great resources on the Fulton County website that will provide food insecurity and economic assistance during this time. And I want to list some of those agencies off is Antioch Urban Ministries. We have Buckhead Christian Ministries, the Community Assistance Center, Hosea Helps, North Fulton Community Charities, and Midtown Assistance Center. And so if you are struggling right now, those are some agencies that you can reach out to immediately to receive those services, as well as reaching out to the Fulton County Department of Behavioral Health to get case management and mental health services as well.
Great advice, Africa. And the case managers can definitely help you navigate the research process and identify the not pile more stress on you, but to kind of help you navigate through the process to identify and obtain resources. Thank you. You guys are asking some very good questions, and I appreciate you for your transparency because some of these questions are difficult to ask. And I just appreciate the fact that you're willing to stand up and raise your hand and say, hey, I'm struggling in this area. And we want to continue to engage with all of you and ensure that we're providing you with effective strategies and coping skills to make it through these very challenging times. And so all your questions today, however, we will be back. And at that point, we will receive more questions and begin answering the questions that we were not able to get to today. I'll turn it back over to you.
Lost one friend due to the coronavirus and have another one who is diagnosed. Now I fear personal interaction. How can I overcome this?
Erica.
So sorry about the loss of your friend. That's, that is a very difficult thing to deal with, and also having the friend that is ill. What you can do is to take care of yourself. Make sure that you're practicing social distancing, and if those friends are ill, the friend that is ill, you won't be able to be around them because once people are diagnosed, they should be self-isolating and in quarantine. And so the biggest thing that you can do is to take care of yourself, washing your hands, not touching your face, and social distancing. And when you are going out, making sure that you're wearing a mask. And so I think that's the biggest way that you can honor your friend, is to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Did you want to add in anything else, Dr. Watson, as far as?
Yeah, I just wanted to remind the person asking the question and the general public in general that there are things we can do if we're worried that you may have been exposed or think you may be having some symptoms, to make sure that you can remember to utilize your primary care physician as a primary resource to calling out. They sometimes can do pre-screenings over the phone, know the symptoms of fever, cough, shortness of breath, which shortness of breath, of course, is a reason to get emergency help, and keep the COVID hotline number, which is 844-442-2681, so that if you have questions related to the COVID-19, that you can reach out and have your questions answered and possibly even be screened over the phone.
Thank you, Erica and Dr. Watson. Marcel?
Crisis has also generated financial stress for so many families. What coping mechanisms do you suggest for those people as they also deal with emotional stress?
Africa, were you able to hear the question?
I was not.
This crisis has also generated financial stress for so many families. What coping mechanism do you suggest for those people as they are also dealing with emotional stress?
So being able to understand what your actual situation is helps you to make a plan. The more control you feel like you have over your life and things that are within your immediate control, the easier it is for you to maintain and regulate your emotions. So identify what your bills actually are. So setting up a budget and seeing, what your bills look like. And because we are unable to go out, we've probably saved some money from gas or, eating out that we probably haven't noticed. And then when you are acknowledging the bills that you do have to pay, and if you're needing assistance, then reaching out to agencies that are providing that economic assistance. And like I said before, you can go to the Fulton County website. They've identified a list of agencies that have the economic assistance for those who are struggling currently.
And so I have one final question. If I am keeping my distance from elderly relatives to ensure their health is, if I am keeping my distance from elderly relatives to ensure their health as a high-risk person, what resources are available to help me maintain a connection with them when they really need it?
Talked about earlier, just going old school, making sure that we maintain some type of connection with our senior population, writing letters if they have a phone, sending text messages every couple hours just to say, hey, thinking of you, making sure that they have things to do to keep their mind, can't be directly with them. Crossword puzzles. I know at times I will go and visit my mother. I don't enter her home, but I'll pull up in the driveway. She'll come to the front door, and that's how we communicate. So just coming up with different ways to have action with your loved ones without actually having that in-person, face-to-face connection. We can still maintain connection with any individuals, probably more so now than we were in the past, but we're just not able to do it. Continue to connect. Now, if there isn't an emergency with your loved one, you would be able to reach out and connect with them. And Dr. Watson, you may want to add something to that, because I do believe in the governor's order, it does create an exception if there is an emergency, family emergency.
Yes, it does. It even includes an exception if you have been typically a primary caregiver who does their grocery shopping, who delivers food to them, needed medical supplies, medication. So yes, there is an exception in the governor's order that allows you to do that.
Health and developmental disabilities. We want to thank you so much for tuning in today. We appreciate you for taking the time to listen to us, and then to also submit your questions, to be transparent and vulnerable by questions and allowing us an opportunity to provide you with some strategies to make it through today. We hope to see you again soon. And please remember that Fulton County government continues to stand here ready to serve. Thank you so much and have a great day.